Just walking here, I thought I'd do a little video. I'm inspired by another TikToker who's just done a video called Make Men's Heart Better. I'll link them in the thing anyway. Inspired me to maybe tell my story. Somebody might be interested, somebody might not. But there you go. But I'm on a walk. Because I just dropped my partner's Range Rover for service and I've got to walk somewhere. And why you're not working, you say, well, I've just recently retired. Unfortunately enough, the circumstances allowed me to retire a little earlier than I was expecting. But nevertheless, I'm walking and it just allows me to slow down a bit and think about stuff, things I need to do, and enjoy life, because that's important. I'm inspired because 5 years ago this month I had a quadruple heart bypass. I'm 56 now and I was 51 at the time. I consider myself to be a very lucky person. Not because I had it, but because I was lucky enough to capture it before something serious happened. Well, serious, yeah. Anyway, what happened was one weekend I was in Torquay with friends and I was walking up around Torquay and I was getting out of breath. I was getting indigestion. I was thinking, what's going on? So I was pumping the Gaviscon and pumping the tablets. I was with one of my friends is a nurse, and she said, if it doesn't get any better, Andy, get yourself to a doctor. And he just went over the weekend. It was fine. I thought nothing more of it. But on the Tuesday, I was just going upstairs at home. I live on a second floor of our house because we've extended to the roof. And I got upstairs to do the washing, and I was out of breath. Unusually out of breath. I mean, okay, yeah, you've gone upstairs, you get a little bit of a breather, but I was completely out of breath to the point where I had to sit down and it stopped me in my tracks. Now, you know what most blokes are like, they kind of ignore stuff, but this time I didn't. This time I knew something wasn't right. So I called up the is it 101, 111? I'm not sure which one it was now. They told me to get down to A&E. So I called my partner who's at work and she came and picked me up and took me to the hospital. And they did the blood tests on me. And the ECGs and asked me about what happened and everything else. And the blood test came out clear. Okay, that's fine, but well, this one doctor who was with me said he wasn't happy. He said the blood tests don't match up with your story. I want to do another blood test. Now I'd been in A&E for about 5, 6, 7 hours by the time this time, and he's going to do another blood test, so it's going to be another few hours. But that's okay. I don't mind. Best to be sure and safe. So he did the blood test and then came back and said, "Okay, Mr. Saunders, we've detected spiked levels of troponin enzyme in your blood. And troponin enzyme release usually happens when you've had yourself a heart attack." I'm like, what, a heart attack? I don't remember having a heart attack. So I must have been lucky and had a very mild one, but I did. And he says, we need to now, figure out why. So you're not going home, you're staying in overnight. So I was in hospital. Now this, 51, we'd just come out of COVID, so there was no partners allowed with you at the time while you're in the hospital. But nevertheless, I kept communications in. Felt fine. I was walking around the hospital like there was nothing wrong with me. Nothing at all. To cut a long story short, they checked the angiogram, found out that I'd got 3 constricted arteries, one of them was blocked, And normally what they do is they normally stent you up there and then while you're on the table and then send you on your way home. However, they told me that my arteries, for some strange reason, were wider than the stents are normally are. I think the stents are up to 5 mil and my arteries were 7, which meant they couldn't stent me. So he needed to put me in and decide what to do. Long story short, because I'm of my age, I don't smoke, I was relatively pretty fit, I'm a surgeon's dream. They said that a bypass operation was the best, and turns out that when they took the heart out and had a look at the other artery on the other side, they needed 4. So they whipped out the artery out of my arm and a vein out of my leg and did a lot, and stuck me back together. It was like having a train go through you when I woke up in intensive care. But anyway, that's for another video. But anyway, I've said that twice. That's for another video. The next step was then recovery from that. But the one outcome of the video is, if you've got familial history of heart disease, as I have, in my mother's and father's side, and it was told to me by the doctor, who looked at me and wondered why I was there, and I told him, he said, well, you can't outrun your genes. So if you have familial history of heart disease in your genetics, get yourself checked out. There's no harm in it. Monitor those cholesterol levels, and then hopefully you can avoid something serious happening. Let's see what happens in the next one.